So, what does it actually feel like when energy shifts in the body? So, I'm Sarah from Align with Sarah, and we are going to talk about that today. Last week, I did a group healing session, and I will link that video to this video, and there'll also be a link in the description if you want to check that out. Um, and in that group healing session, I had this event arrive just before that helped direct my thinking and what I brought into that session. And it was about wanting something new arriving, and being invited in to this thought of like actualizing it into reality and like creating a space for the thing that we want, that I want. It's very critical steps in that process is number one, know what you want. And number two, that visual of making some space for the thing that we want. So, what does it feel like when energy shifts? So, I love working with people that have chronic pain, that are dealing with the shoulder hurts, the hip, this, that, the other thing, where we can get an assessment on that at the beginning of the session. And then after the session, we can come back to that and move around, stand up. Um, how does this thing feel? Is there any increase in mobility? Is there just decrease in pain? Is there, a change in all of these things? But when we're looking at things like a financial goal, a career goal, and then in the case of last week, just this experience of being open to this thing I want to receive. I can have vision boards and I can talk about it all the time and I can got my motivational sticky notes. But at the end of the day, energetically, when we don't have this thing that we want, when we haven't made a nest for this thing to arrive and live in and grow, like, there's no place in the garden. We can keep buying all these plants, but when there's nowhere to put them in the garden, there's still nowhere to put them in the garden. So that's an analogy for, wanting these things, but then having no place for them to actually fit into our life. So we did some work, beautiful, beautiful work. And many times when I work with people, the pain is different, pain level assessment goes down. Overall, there's a sense of relief or lightness or um, like a weight that was on the chest or in the body is gone. Long-term stuff, what I think happens for me, I can tell you what happens, is that I notice what I'm doing in a more effective way. So we have our energy healing session, and going through life. And I hit this place in my monthly cycle where I'm like, oh, here comes the migraine season. And I thought, oh my gosh, this thing that's part of my compromises my flow of health, my flow of life, really. It like I've built it its own edition in my house, so to speak, of my well-being. And I have so much room for that. I'm like channeling that in. And I'm noticing and remembering when I talk about chronic pain, I talk about being a migraine person. I talk about how that is me. I talk about how I have room for that. And I'm actually identifying with I'm identifying that issue with myself. And for me, the noticing is so huge because when we notice, we have this opportunity to listen and to shift in the correct way. We might be shifting all kinds of things, we might be doing all kinds of things, but when we're not doing something different, when we're not doing something that's actually nourishing to the part of us that needs to heal, we might be adding to some other place in our self that needs some healing. Um, and it's always great to grow everywhere. But when we're ignoring that place that is waiting to heal, the actual wound, it makes such a difference to give it attention. And it was such an aha moment. And it's this perfect example of how we're always in this perfect place to be learning something. And that thing that we're learning might be just taking us to the next learning center. It might be, this like next stop on the journey. I do believe that's why it's called a journey. And for November, I'm offering this out to you as well. Uh, this piece of wellness of connecting to infinity. There's a really amazing blog out there written by yours truly, The Healing Hands of Sarah Misson, typing, um, talking about infinity and very curious thoughts about infinity. And when we're in the wrong, I'm going to backtrack that. When we're in a place where an emotion, so like this is my emotion of abandonment, and I'm going to see life through my lenses of abandonment, I'm going to be seeing life through the lens of abandonment. And it's going to be allowing me to focus on those things, be tuned into the frequency, giving off that vibe so that I'm attracting that vibe. That's the life I live, creating that comfort zone of I know how to be abandoned. I know how to survive on myself by myself. I know how to do it all. I know how to this and that. And when we recognize, wow, this is this abandonment emotion comes up every time I talk to Sarah. This feeling of abandonment comes up every time I meditate, or this memory of this thing comes up. We're in a place then where that area of our self with a capital S is trying to kind of knock on the door and say, I'm ready to heal. Do you notice me now? Do you notice me now? And giving that attention specifically, as we become aware of that, then we can say, geez, all I think about is, this thing, or I'm noticing how my comfort zone is nourished by abandonment, or this, my life runs on abandonment. And how, I wake up in the morning and I'm thinking of this. And I'm just using that word. It's the first emotion here on my list. We can replace that word with any other emotion, positive or negative, and create that visual of anger, anxiety, despair, happiness, love, joy, self-worth. When we live our life in self-worth, it's a much different experience than living our life in abandonment. So when we get to that place of recognizing, when finally noticing and being in a place where we can listen to that and shift and grow, well, what's the opposite of this? What's the opposite of abandonment? What's the opposite of creating space for the thing I don't want? What if I had a whole edition, I move out, migraine, I evict that migraine energy and invite in fun, recreation, community, you name it. High function, exercise, ease of body, mind, spirit. Uh, you know, 2 days of the month where I can lay in bed if I want to lay in bed. 2 days of the month where I can just watch TV and hang out and replace the pain that it takes for me to get to that place of surrender and fill it in with something that I want. So I hope my message is getting through here. So, what does it feel like when the energy shifts for those long term, or I'm going to use the word abstract, the not physical pain, the abstract goals? And it usually feels like awareness of our own behavior. I say this several times a day. Only you can heal you. Only I can heal me. It's my job to optimize my environment for me to heal me. It's your job to optimize your environment for you to heal you. And the more we notice the things that we're doing, we can evaluate them and make the solid judgment of, if I keep doing what I'm doing, I'm going to keep getting what I'm getting. If I stop doing what I'm doing, if I stop making room for this thing I don't want, more and more we can find those things that are highly effective in removing from our life so that we can stop getting what we're getting. And we have this whole new room, this whole new addition in our house of wellness, where we can invite in whatever we want. So that's where I'm at. That's the message for today. That's the message for this week, almost. Tomorrow, November 7th at 7 p.m. Eastern Time, which time is kind of a made up thing here now with daylight savings time ending and our clock switching and time zones and oh jeepers, people not switching things. Oh, okay. Um, so if you want to check out Let's Talk Tuesday, there is an email going out tomorrow, just before, my fingers are crossed, just before, and these are fingers crossed, hoping, just before Let's Talk Tuesday is live. Um, there is a scheduled event on YouTube, so you can go over to the live tab and click notify me, and you will get a notification that the live stream is starting. And what was the other thing? Oh, if you are subscribed to the channel, yay! I'm a YouTuber. I have to ask for subscribers. If you're subscribed to the channel, you will get a note, and you click the notification button, you will be notified anytime that there's new content or there is a live stream or any of those goodies. So I will hopefully see you tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. It's your homework to figure out when that is. And I will see you again very soon. Thank you.